Together, myself, Brian Sandoval, Brian Krolicki, Stephen Horsford, all working together to get that done. So those are some of the Republicans that I think are reasonable Republicans that I enjoyed working with over the years.
Great. Dana, how would you like to break the rules?
Okay. Speaker, you mentioned your support for recreational marijuana. And I remember 15 years ago, you were one of only 3 Democrats in the state assembly who voted against the medical marijuana bill after voters approved it twice. In 2011, when you were speaker, your colleague Paul Aisley's bill did not get a hearing, I believe. And I'm just wondering why, what have you done? You mentioned the needless imprisonment of people for marijuana offenses. What did you do during your tenure, all those years in the legislature, to decriminalize marijuana?
Actually, that's a good, let me start out with the 2001 vote or 2003 vote, I can't remember. You are absolutely correct. 3 people voted against it, I was one of them. As you recall, I worked on the streets of North Las Vegas for 2.5 decades, seeing a lot of issues because of drugs and alcohol. And so I had some concerns, and this is, remember, 16 years ago, like you said. I had some concerns that we didn't have our stuff together when the first legislation came down the pike. I think that now we have done a good job of figuring out exactly what the regulations should be, the structure, putting all the pieces in place to do this better. In 2001, we didn't. Again, there's a lot of research that's happened since then that has changed my mind. Look, I'm not afraid to say when I was wrong or when I changed my mind. At the time, I thought I was right. Now, I think that we're heading in the right direction. And we have done a lot of work in the legislature to not necessarily decriminalize, but reduce the sentences, reduce the penalties on small drug-related offenses.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions before we get the closing statement. Steve?
Well, I want to go off track again. I'm going to blame Riley.
Okay.
He started it.
Okay.
But I think at this point, all 4 candidates, I think it's clear, feel like you would better represent than Crescent Hardy in this congressional district. That being said, how do you feel you're more qualified or more capable than the 3 people sitting up there next to you tonight?
Well, we certainly agree on any one of us would be a better choice than Crescent Hardy. That's for sure. There's definitely consensus on that. Look, I think that I'm a very different kind of candidate, and frankly, the best candidate up here for several reasons. One is because of my record. Not only my legislative record in getting things done, but my personal record in getting things done. I can name you specific legislation. I'm just not talking about I worked for this or I worked for that. We revamped the entire way that we test our kids out of our entire school system in Nevada. That was a bill that I was told I would not accomplish. Not only did I accomplish it, but also had a $1.5 million revenue bill attached to it that, again, I worked with the governor and my Republican colleagues on. So it's my record of accomplishment in the legislature. I'm a lawyer now. I came from a very, very different place, as you know, as a kid. So for me, it's about having that dedication and the know-how to get it done. So that also changes my perspective. But frankly, I'm also the most progressive candidate up here. I am very proud to say that I have been endorsed by all 3 national prominent progressive organizations, MoveOn.org, the Progressive Campaign Change Committee, and Democracy for America. And that MoveOn.org vote I won with 64% of registered Congressional District 4 voters. So I have not only a proven record, but the perspective is very different. And frankly, my campaign is being funded very differently. I have now close to 5,500 contributions made to my campaign, which is significantly different the way that any of these candidates are raising money for their campaign as well. I'm very proud to be completely grassroots.
what I will tell this is this. Look at my record. You know, 2 reasons why I'm the most qualified. And look, we're all friends up here. I'm not going to sit here and attack any of my colleagues because at the end of the day, the person that we need to be attacking is the Republicans and Congressman Crescent Hardy. Yeah. But the most important part here is electing somebody that not only has the record of getting things done. Again, I presented the bill to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour. I presented the bill that created the first ever need-based grants for low-income students, and I co-sponsored the bill for equal pay for equal work for women in the state of Nevada. This is before I decided to run for Congress. Second of all, I have a proven track record of winning elections. This is going to be my 5th election. I've never lost an election. I've won every single election with more than 60% of the vote. Even in 2014, when every Democrat almost got, or actually every Democrat, up and down the ticket from the constitutional officers to our own Congressman Horsford, lost a re-election, I won with 65% of the vote. So winning elections matters. Having the experience matters. Now is not the time to be taking on Congressman Crescent Hardy with no experience. You need a candidate that can win elections. Somebody that has a proven track record of getting things done, winning elections, and somebody who has been endorsed by 13 labor unions, including the Culinary Union, SEIU, the teachers, somebody who has been endorsed by the leader of the Democratic Party, Senator Harry Reid. That person is me, and there's a reason why these Democrats trust me, and there's a reason why I will continue to fight for progressive democratic values here in the state of Nevada and for the 4th Congressional District.
You know, this country is obviously at a crossroads. I think we're seeing it with the presidential race, with what's happening with us being pulled apart and the rhetoric that's going on. And we can answer it in 2 different ways. We can answer it by picking a scapegoat and being exclusionary and telling everyone to stay out, or we can do it by working together and setting reforms and reforming our system. I have consistently fought for 23 years in our community, bringing people together and getting things done. I haven't been out in front of cameras, getting attention, running for one office after another. I've rolled up my sleeves, I've brought people together on the ground, and because of my work, thousands of people have a better life, thousands of veterans are now working again, homeless children have a shelter to stay in, and kids are graduating from high school and having a chance at a better life. I have always fought for and gotten results for what I believe in. We have some major stresses in our country, particularly when it comes to supporting our seniors with Social Security and Medicare. This is the first year in 40 years that we did not see a cost of living adjustment in Social Security. These are promises that we've made. I live with my mother calls me day in and day out. These are things that I will fight for, and I've proven that I can get results, and I will continue to do that.
Thank you very much, and thank you for everybody still sticking around. We're into this thing a couple hours, and I haven't seen anybody sneak out the side door, so I'm glad about that. Listen, I think this is about experience. I think this is about your commitment to public service. I was a public servant as a firefighter serving the community for 2.5 decades. And then at the same time, remember our legislature is a part-time legislature. We only meet 120 days every other year. At the same time, I didn't think that was enough, so I tried to serve my community at the legislature. I just want to carry on that tradition of community service in Congress. I care about this state more than anything. I'm not going anywhere. My family's been here now with my kids for 5 generations. I want to continue to serve this state and my community, and then this is a way to do that. I think that being able to work with others and pull them together has been something that I've done year in and year out. If you remember in the 2011 session, we had a 53% deficit in our budget. You can't get through something like that without talking to folks and listening to folks and bringing them together to come up with a solution that'll get you through that. So I've led during some tough times, and I think that experience will matter in Congress. Thank you.
have time for just one more question. John?
Well, Mr. Moderator and audience, I think we just heard closing statements,
I think we did.
and I think they were wonderful. I would like everybody, when we finish here, to give these candidates a rousing round of applause for their time spent with us. And with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
All righty. Thank you. Remember, June 14th not only is Flag Day, but primary day in Nevada, okay? Thanks a lot, folks.